back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, filling in for Eric Voss while he's out on paternity leave, and today I'm breaking down What If Season 2, Episode 6, What If Kahhori Reshaped the World. This episode is written by Ryan Little and in collaboration with the Mohawk Nation-like historian Doug George and Mohawk language expert Cecilia King to ensure cultural authenticity, which is so important because this episode means a lot to me and I'm sure a lot of people. So let's break this down scene by scene while I point out all the small details we might have missed. But first, we have some What If inspired merch over at the nerdriot.shop. We have Echo gear, Loki gear, Christmas for January gear, and I know Christmas already passed, so maybe this is just like post-Christmas January gear, you know, what everybody wants. Go check out our awesome merch over there. It's a great way to support the channel, but also look fresh as hell while doing it. Okay, let's jump into this. We opened a flame scorching everything in sight to see it's Odin fighting Surtur, the fire demon who brought on Ragnarok and, well, you know, Thor Ragnarok. In Ragnarok, Thor said, "I thought my father killed you like 500,000 years ago." Odin had defeated Surtur and then stole the eternal flame, the source of his power. That intro shows what would have happened if Odin had lost the battle and the Tesseract fell to Earth somewhere else. We see a stunning view of Asgard. Unfortunately, it's perishing, but with the Tesseract making its way out. The Tesseract falls to Earth and landed in the Haudenosaunee Confederacy before the colonization of America. And that's also the synopsis for what this episode's about. We're brought back from the credits to a shot of corn and the sun beaming down upon it. Playing is a song by Joanne Shenandoah, a person from the Wolf Clan of the Iroquois Confederacy based in New York. A lot of her songs play throughout this episode. She's a brilliant singer, beautiful mind, beautiful spirit. She passed away not long ago, and her music is so gorgeous. The women began harvesting the corn, then the peas, and the squash, traditional Mohawk foods that were planted and harvested back in the day. This is their village, and during this time they lived in a longhouse made from wood frame covered in elm bark. Then we meet Kahhori. Her name is a real Wolf Clan name, meaning she stirs the forest or is someone who motivates those around her. She's voiced by Devry Jacobs, who plays Bonnie in Echo. This is the introduction of this character that hasn't been shown in the MCU or in the comics before, and the first time a What If episode centered around a character who is completely new to the MCU. Kahhori is a member of the Mohawk people who were located around New York, and even in the distant past, the MCU can't get away from the bad shit happening in New York. Kahhori also speaks the Mohawk language, which is great because it brings another level of authenticity to this episode. Her brother's name is Wata, voiced by Kiowantio. They reach the forest they call the Old Battlefield, where their ancestors' bones are pinned to trees or lying on the ground. The elders say this area is cursed, but Kahhori argues it's only cursed because no one cleansed it after the bloodshed. She tells the story of how the lake that homes the Tesseract has great power that would take people to the sky world. The place above land is talked about in different creation stories, how people living there never felt pain and had everlasting life. Some said their job is to carry the messages of the creator and protect them from the dangers of the universe. However, the people at the time fought for control of the lake instead of bringing them together, and this all reminds me of how Vibranium Meteorite just fell to Wakanda and how they started battling at first. There is a legend, an old Mohawk tale, about the lake on the mountain and how the daughter of a chief jumped in to escape her arranged marriage to be with her one true love, and she never returned out of the water. The Sky Woman lived right above this lake, and it was believed that the spirit of the sisters lived forever in this lake, and that lake was called the Lake of Gods. Spanish explorers then attacked their village, and I wonder what year it is, because during 1521, the Eternals were in a Native American city as it fell to Spanish invaders. This must be around that time, or maybe a little bit earlier or later. Also, Namor was born in 1571, so he might have been around somewhere around this time, just chilling. The Spanish are also looking for the lake, later referring to it as the Fountain of Youth, a mythical spring that helps you never age. They chase Kahhori and Wata past the skulls back to the Forbidden Lake. We see the Forbidden Lake glow a blue sheen, gorgeous and captivating. Interestingly, many Native American legends speak of their people coming from below ground or a different world and emerging into this one. The lake was underground, so it would sort of line up with the other myths that they come from underground as well. Kahhori is shot in the shoulder and falls into the Forbidden Lake. Upon landing, she's immediately sucked into the cube that guides her through a portal wrapped in water hitting the ground. We're introduced to Atrox, voiced by Jeremy White, also a new character. Atrox had fallen through the lake years before Kahhori. Through the Watcher, we learned that the cube broke on impact and its energy gave power to the lake. Noble people disappeared in the lake, later being deemed cursed as people fought for it and disappeared through it, telling all to never return to it. On Skyworld, you can see the solar system and the village is powered by the Tesseract's powers, even the water and the plants. Eating of the land will give you powers, just living there for a while will change you as well. Back on Earth, we have the Conquistador, Rodrigo Alfonso Gonzalo, who also seems to be a new character. There is a character called the Conquistador who was the first Spaniard to find the Fountain of Youth in the comics, so he might be based on that a little bit, but it was a very minor character. There is also another Fountain of Youth in Marvel Comics, separate from the one found by the Conquistador, which was in Florida. This version gave a Roman emperor named Tyrannus eternal life. Neither are portals to other worlds, though.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. You can love holiday season and also admit that it's stressful. Travel, time with family, marking time with New Year's, it can be a lot. And if you feel like you could use a little help with it all, try connecting with a licensed therapist by using BetterHelp. Starting therapy can be hard. The right therapist for you may not be in your area, and some people struggle with the face-to-face interaction of therapy. With BetterHelp, you can have your therapy sessions as a phone call, as a video chat, even via messaging if you prefer that, whatever is the most comfortable version of therapy for you. Just click the link in the description and answer a few questions about what you're looking for from therapy and what your preferences are. BetterHelp will then match you with a therapist from their network that's right for you. If you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a therapist for no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. If you think that you might benefit from therapy, consider BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/newrockstars. Clicking that link helps support this channel and also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so that you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you.
During the 16th century, there were many leaders of the Spanish conquest of America. This was around the time of the Queen of Spain, Isabella's reign, who we're going to see later at the end of the episode, and she's the one that funded Christopher Columbus's expedition. So, you know, her. Atrax mentions how the land wants to help her. Another calls her a name and she stirs the forest. He also says this. There are a lot of Native American stories of people coming from clay. One legend of the Mohawk Nation tells a story of the good spirit using pieces of clay they found on a river to make man. Kahhori responds she's made of wolf. I mentioned earlier her name was a real wolf clan name. Among the Haudenosaunee are groups of people who come together as families called clans. The wolf clan represents the pathfinders. Their responsibility is to guide the people in living their lives in the way of the creator intended. Later he comments, got some turtle in me myself. The Iroquois creation story, the earth was created on the back of a turtle. It was there that life began to grow. The turtle clan represents the shifting of the earth and the cycles of the moon. So I think those are both references to those different clans. A bird signals it's time for the hunt, and then we see these creatures that bore fruit on their backs that are imbued with the powers from the world they're in. They make sport of grabbing their crystal-like fruit. Before chasing after them, this woman has a flower to the sky and blows the pollen over the cliff. The creatures rise up and begin running. Kahhori's the fastest on the planet. Then we see the scene from the trailer of her flipping the creatures over her head. A quick learner indeed, and as the sun sets, Kahhori reveals her bundle catch. The woman we saw earlier says, our names carry the spirits and strength of those who had them before us. Those under the Mohawk Nation do have naming traditions. Names are unique to these clans. Once a child is given a name, no one else can have that name. When they die, the name reverts back to the clan and is given to a new child. The conquistadors make their way to the sky world prepared to colonize it when Kahhori stops the bullets from penetrating the sky people. She goes off on them, telling them how they need to step up and remember where they began and how important it is to help. She says, you've forgotten your origins, but I cannot. She pulls the portal to her and then she leaves. Arriving on the edge of the waters where the people are being taken, she arrives and literally begins laying these men out. They refer to her as a witch because she's so powerful. She uses her newfound powers to stop the cannonballs from penetrating, and overall that the prophecy song plays by Joanne Shenandoah. One makes its way through though, hitting her in the head, and the rest of the people from Skyworld appear and they help. They followed her. Kahhori really living up to her name and motivating others. They cross the waters, running through the ships, and Kahhori frees her people, telling her brother to witness their deeds, remember their faces, we're going to need new songs about today. The brother says thunder beings, and there are Mohawk legends of thunder spirits who live in the sky and can bring death to mortals, although they typically play a positive role in Mohawk legends. The Watcher says, very seldom heroes stop after their first victory, and you're not gonna stop Kahhori here. Then we're taken to Spain. The man talking to the queen says this.
Primero Gonzalo, después Jacobo. Y los hermanos Mendoza.
This could be a reference to Gonzalo Jimenez de Cansada, who set out to find El Dorado with 500 men and came back with only 25. The Mendoza brothers could also come from Pedro de Mendoza, who came from a noble family in Spain. He messed up in Buenos Aires and dipped, leaving his forces behind, and died on his way back to Spain. Then arrives Kahhori, who tells her to frickin' quit it, and even with the queen being a dick, she offers a peace offering. Then Stephen Strange enters the chat, aka Strange Supreme. We last saw Strange Supreme being put in charge of the pocket dimension containing Killmonger and Ultron. It's unclear what he wants with Kahhori. As she is imbued with the Space Stone, she might have the powers to travel other realities. There may be some other large threat that the Supreme needs to put a team together to stop, similar to what happened last season. We know the final episode is what if Strange Supreme intervened. I think he could be using Kahhori to help clean up whatever mess I'm sure he already created. He also says this like kind of shady thing that's like, I mean, I understand Strange Supreme is supposed to be kind of an asshole, but like, what is he up to? Either way, that's it for my breakdown of season 2, episode 6 of What If. Huge thanks to Noah Chen for helping me write this video. I've been extremely sick this holiday season, and even now I'm like sweating. I'm having a hard time, but Noah Chen came in and helped me so much. We've got a lot more What If breakdowns coming your way. It truly takes a village for us to do this. Follow me on Twitter at Lulu_Clemons. Follow New Rockstars and be sure to subscribe for more breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.